Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, January 27th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me this week is Bijan. How you making out?
I'm doing great, dude. That Ultimate Beastmaster trailer. Oh my god. Where did this come from? I like, my mind was blown, guys. If you guys haven't seen this trailer, stop this podcast, watch that trailer right now. Dude, you have to have it in the show notes. This show is going to be so dope. I haven't been this ecstatic about a show since Team Ninja Warrior, guys. I seriously think this show might be up there. Like, I don't think it's going to top ANW. Nothing's going to top ANW for me. But this show is going to do really well in terms of just the excitement and the fun of ANW, man. It's got the right people backing it with Netflix. It's got some insane production values. And I don't know, just the format alone, I'll talk about it later. This show is going to be really fun. I am psyched.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. I was a little excited for it, and then they brought out this new trailer, and it is really amazing. The course looks fantastic. The production values are through the roof.
Dude, where did this come from? Like, I feel like I've been sleeping on this show. Like, everybody knew about it but me. Like, what is going on? This show, why don't you break down, like, how you felt watching it the first time, man?
Let's hold off on that for a minute. Let's talk about it. So this episode was supposed to be our Jump City Seattle episode 2, which we will cover it.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about Celebrity Apprentice, National Ninja League, and all that stuff. We do have some other news to talk about. So
it's going to be a long episode.
it might be a little long, but we're going to save most of our Beastmaster for when we actually get some more information. So. Mm-hmm. But overall impressions off the bat, I love it. I think it looks great. I'm really excited for it. We will be covering it. I don't see how we cannot cover it. It's going to make our schedule a little tight in March because Team Ninja Warrior will be starting while we'll be covering this. So you might be having some 2-episode weeks again for a while.
Yeah. So just for the layman's of anybody that hasn't seen this trailer or just wants to know the rundown, it's very similar to American Ninja Warrior in the fact that it's an obstacle course. All the obstacles are very unique. They're different from ANW, which is exciting for me. We have just a variety of different things. It kind of seems like these obstacles are, you know, ANW's kind of gone like super far in the rock climbing category, you know, Rich. These ones are actually very unique. I see a lot of like balance obstacles and just very different, unique ones with giant gaps and spinning stuff. It reminds me a whole lot more of Sasuke in various aspects. One other thing, guys, is that since it's on Netflix, the entire show and season is going to be all there at once. You can binge watch it, just like old school Ninja Warrior on G4, and that's going to be super fun. With that said, I think, Rich, for your and my sakes, we're going to have to cover it episode by episode, week by week, right? Because otherwise, I think I'd go insane.
Yeah, we'll have to space it out, which is going to be hard to wait to watch the next episode for each week.
It's going to be real hard.
Yeah, we'll have to watch it through once. Like, we'll marathon it, and then we'll have to go back and watch each episode before we record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, guys, just for a rundown of how this show is formatted, because it is unique, different from ANW, the first thing that I have to say, which is kind of cool, is this show's going to... Well, first of all, more than anything else, we're going to have... 6 different teams from different countries. We got 6 countries represented on this show. There's USA, there's Brazil, there's South Korea, there's Mexico, Germany, and then Japan. So we have the Sasuke peeps, we've got the US peeps, and we have some different countries also in the mix there that I'm really excited for. They're unique, you know. We don't have like the common UK is going to be there or Vietnam. You know, we have some pretty out there like Brazil. I'm really excited to see what like Brazil has to represent. Mexico has a huge free running and obstacle course racing scene, and I'm really glad that they're being represented here. So with all those teams, every single country represented on the show is going to have their own specific format of this show and their own language and different hosts. And that's really cool. And the hosts are actually pretty legit. For the US, we have Terry Crews and Carissa Thompson, but on the Brazil side, we have MMA great Anderson Silva. And anybody that knows MMA knows he's one of the best MMA fighters of all time, if not the best. So that's some pretty high-level stuff right there. So just so you guys know, also for the Japan team, we have two-time Sasuke champion Yuji Arushihara. I hope I'm saying that right. This guy is the best. He's a shoe salesman. Everybody just overlooks the guy, and he's just beast moding. And I can't wait to see him just destroy everybody. The level of competitor on this show is extremely high. In the trailer, we get a breakdown of like super high level people, Olympians and things like that. I'm really excited to see what they're capable of doing. And they're all kind of fresh faces. So there's going to be 18 competitors on every episode. And the winner of the episode of those 18 competitors will be known as the Beast. And then after the, after the 9 initial shows with the 9 beasts there, they're going to have a full-on, finale show where all the beasts go compete against each other on probably a much tougher course. And the one person that completes all of that at the very end will be crowned the Beastmaster. So it's kind of a mix between American Ninja Warrior and American Gladiators, where it seems like there definitely will be a winner. However, it's still, and the competitors are competing against each other, but it's also against the course. So it's a really good and fun mix. It's unique, and that's one thing I like. It's not a complete ripoff of ANW and Sasuke. I'm excited, man.
You know what I'm excited about is it's going to be on Netflix, which I have, and I don't have to do all the hoop jumping I had to do for Esquire. So this is great. We'll be able to watch it legitimately and recommend everybody else to watch it. And you can watch it at your own pace whenever you feel like it.
This really has an opportunity to become very, very big, guys. Do not sleep on this show. This is going to be high-level stuff, and they have Netflix backing it. So there is some legit money behind this show, and if it does well for Netflix, we definitely have another. I see competition as good. I don't want to hate on this show because it's like A&W, and I really hope it doesn't get that kind of backlash. All of this is good for the sport, and I'm really excited.
Yeah. I don't think you have to pick one over the other. It's going to be a nice addition to pretty much the off season for ANW, although we will have Team Ninja Warrior kind of running against it a bit. But it's going to be great fun. Mm-hmm. And we will give you more information as we get it. So for now, we're going to move on to try to keep this at some kind of a reasonable length to...
I can go on forever, man. Let's keep moving.
Let's go to Jump City, Seattle, episode 2, which was Miami Free Running versus Tribe. So this had a lot of familiar faces. We had both JJ Woods and Flip on Miami Free Running. And I think the big name for Tribe is Frosty, who you've mentioned before. And I think it's probably a bigger name than I gave him credit for.
Out of everybody on this entire show, other than the A&W people, but maybe even more than A&W people, he's probably the most well-known because he's well-known outside of this show in very big shows like Survivor and various other reality shows. And Frosty Zernow, if you, just from watching this show, it is very clear. He is on another level from any other competitor on this entire show, including Levi Muhlenberg, in terms of, just comfort in front of the camera. There is a difference in presence and charisma from this guy and any other person. It's insane.
Yeah, he's a showman. He definitely is a showman. And he's really, really good. He was very fun to watch.
It is night and day, though. It is... it really stands out, way more than these other guys, and... I don't know. These guys are fine, but you can tell they're not, they're free runners. They're not, and used to being in front of cameras. This guy is just destroying them at that point. But not just that. Frosty Zernow is one of the best competitors in this particular sport, and it stands out. And I loved seeing him on the show. And I love seeing Flip Rodriguez and JJ Woods and all the other people. This was fun. So, more than anything else, before we even get down to the nitty-gritty, what did you think about these two teams?
They're great. I was really excited once they showed the little clips at the beginning, and you had an idea of who they were, and they've already got a rivalry because The main, Adrian Gonzalez, who started Miami Free Running, used to be a member of Tribe, but split off and did his own thing. So
some drama there, dude. I thought they were gonna bring that more up. They didn't bring it up like too much, but I like the fact that there's drama. I mean, can you imagine that, guys? Tribe is like the oldest, or I don't know if it's the oldest, but it's one of the oldest, OG groups of this particular sport. And then one of the younger members, straight out of a Shakespearean play is like, screw you guys, I'm going to do my own thing. Starts his own crew up in Miami with, all these young guns. And then they come back and they're competing against each other. How amazing is that?
Yeah, it was really cool to see. I liked the whole vibe. The Miami Free Running described themselves as a wolf pack. Did you catch that? It's kind of hard to miss, but it was pretty funny.
I'm like, there's some keywords there. The one big thing between these two teams for everybody is Tribe, as I alluded to before, is one of the original teams, and they're kind of, I wouldn't say older, they're not like old men, but they're not like super, super young like Miami Free Running. Miami Free Running looks like a bunch of like teenage / 20-year-olds, they are like super young, and their style kind of alludes to that. They're super energetic, and the thing about Miami Free Running is they do all these extremely insanely hard tricks, but they don't really link them together, kind of like alluding to from Rogue last week. But Tribe is, more than anything else, is all about speed and flow. And they don't necessarily do a whole lot of hard tricks. They're more all about, linking them together and being very, very fast. And it was very cool in this episode because the two dynamics of the teams stood out so much that they were very different. And I enjoyed that. You seeing the styles clash together like that.
Yeah, I was a little bit put off by the fact that at the beginning of the episode, they really telegraphed it so much. I made a note well before it actually happened. It's like they made a point of stressing that there is a reserve player in case of injury, like big blinking neon sign. Someone's going to injure themselves this episode. And it ended up being Flip.
Yeah, but guys, remember last week when we were talking about them running along the ceilings, and there's all these gaps where you fall 20 feet. The things they're doing in this episode were way worse. They're shimming next to these ledges, and I don't even know how to describe these things, man. They're like giant pillars, right? Super high up, and there's this ledge in the middle of it where it's maybe I don't know what, 4 inches, dude, and they're trying to shimmy along this thing, and what they have to do is jump down on this ledge and then jump to another thing. But if they don't hit this ledge, they're gonna fall another 10 feet, and I'm just somebody's gonna kill themselves on this show. This is where I see somebody die. And there's just all these giant, falls and pits. And I'm just this is such a bad idea. And as everybody can imagine, I'm alluding to something that happens.
Yeah, I kind of jumped ahead and spoiled it here. But while they're racing through this course, they did the relay thing. It's at Freeway Park in Seattle again. And as they're running the course, I literally gasped aloud because Flip, and I mean, I knew he was fine. I've seen him run on ANW, but watching him fall like that was oh my God, what the hell? What was that? It was absolutely frightening to think he was going to break his leg at the bottom or something.
It's really, really young Flip Rodriguez. He goes for this transition gap. He falls and he hits us at the top of this pillar. And I'm talking about this really, really high pillar. He hits it, but then he can't catch himself, so he falls. And then he falls more, and then he falls more, and then he lands really hard, I think hitting his knee or something on the bottom of this ridge on the very bottom of the pillar. And you can tell he's in a lot of pain, but this guy still toughs it out. But yeah, he was done afterwards, and they showed his leg after the run. And it just had this giant bulge. It was bleeding, and it was just this giant, you could tell that thing was going to swell up pretty bad, and that was going to be a bad day for him. I don't know. I feel for him. That sucked.
Yeah. So JJ Woods had to be subbed in for the next round, but
for the speed round, though, why don't you recap very quick?
The speed round, it was pretty good. Tribe was able to do it in 55 seconds. There's some crazy leaps across. All the concrete's wet and mossy and stuff. and then Miami came behind them, and even with Flip falling, he didn't lose any time because he immediately recovered and ran. Like he knew he had to make up the time. So his portion, it actually balanced out. It just came down to Frosty being faster for the anchor position for them just by a couple
Much
seconds.
faster.
Yeah.
No, like it was these guys
2 seconds
were
faster,
sprinting,
which is a lot for that.
That's a lot, though. It sounds like little guys, but the 2 seconds stood out. Like this guy flew through this course, and Frosty is just on next level when it comes to speed and flow when it comes to the sport, and it was amazing to watch. I was just blown away. When it comes to this show, I seriously think Frosty Zernow and Levi Muhlenberg are the 2 top competitors. And I actually kind of put Frosty above Levi.
Really? I mean, Levi got better scores. I actually thought he did a better job.
Yeah, that's because the judges love Levi. Come on, dude.
No, I thought his was better, personally.
Well, here's the thing. Frosty isn't about the tricks. Frosty's about speed. So I think there's a difference where I love seeing Frosty's speed, and then I appreciate his flow because we'll talk about it later in the freestyle, but he's very unique with his style of the tricks. Where, I don't know, Levi is just, kind of here and there. He's good. He's really good, but he's not like next level, like blowing my mind like Frosty.
I did like when they had the injuries, they took a minute to basically talk about injuries in the sport and how it's prone to it and showing falls. And one of the things that they said stood out to me. I think it was Frosty that said it, that some of their moves come from their failures. So like a cat leap, like when they jump from across a gap and grab with their hands and kind of brace their feet against the wall, is really just a failed roof jump. Like basically, it just developed from them missing a roof jump.
I do like that.
Yeah, it's cool. Like these were the guys that pioneered this whole sport, this whole thing. They talk about these veterans, like you were saying, veterans. They've been doing it for 5 years, right? Like it's not like they've been doing it but they invented the sport and created these things over a very short amount of time.
Yeah, it's true. And I don't know. We'll talk about it in the freestyle, but like the episode before, it definitely stood out of the team that's much more seasoned and the team that's a lot more newer to this show or to the sport.
So yeah, based on really just Frosty's performance, Tribe ended up taking it. Everybody else basically squared off at about the same pace, and Frosty just brought it home for them. So yeah, I was really interested in the contrast, like you said. So when they moved to the freestyle, I thought Tribe's going to give us a lot of good flow. They're going to plan everything out a lot better, and it's going to be a lot more smooth. And we're going to get some big, cool tricks from the younger crew with Miami free running. I didn't find that really either one of them really blew me away. Other than Frosty's individual performance, for the most part, I thought it really didn't hold a candle to last week's. Like I thought the first episode had much stronger freestyle round.
Oh, I agree. Very much so. I feel like the tale of the show is going to be Tribe is going to destroy whoever they compete against in the speed round, and Tempest is going to destroy everybody when it comes to the freestyle. Now, the 2 question marks are going to be Rogue and Miami free running. They're kind of like the young guns, and they can play spoiler on either side, but you have the 2 teams that definitely have like the definite skills, like cinch in the bag, are going to be Tribe and Tempest. So I'm curious if Rogue or Miami free running can kind of like etch out their niche, so to speak. As we saw, well, we'll talk about it now. One thing that I was actually very impressed by Miami free running and their skills when it came to the freestyle round. Even though it wasn't at the same level as Rogue or Tempest, I was actually pretty impressed, especially, honestly, by JJ Woods. I don't know what it was about him, but the things that he did, like JJ Woods, guys, he was, as you can imagine, he doesn't look like many of the other guys on this show when it comes to free running. I mean, this guy is like a tank, whereas everybody else is like kind of like me, a lanky, skinny dude. And this guy's doing tricks where, it's all muscle-based like tricks that are very unique to this type of sport. And I don't know, he did like this giant gap, right? But he lands like in a headstand and then just holds it there. Like, it's insane the stuff that he was doing. He was doing muscle-ups and kip-ups. I mean, it was really fun to see somebody his size do these types of flips and all these strength-based tricks. So I like the fact that Miami Freerunning are actually kind of unique with their freestyles, that their tricks are very different, and they were doing some mightily difficult tricks.
Yeah, I was that same move. That was one that stood out to me a lot. Like JJ Woods, if he had better flow, and really you could say that about almost all of them, that they would have scored so much better. And it was, the host made a point of saying that, but it was blatantly obvious, right? As you're watching that they're just pausing in places and trying to recenter themselves and figure out what they're going to do next. It's like it's supposed to go one into the next, into the next, and the next. And one should just naturally lead into the next movement, and it just wasn't happening. But yeah, there were some really cool tricks from JJ with that. Spider had a fantastic
from
beginning
Miami
to his
Freerunning.
run. Yeah, from Miami Freerunning. He started with he started really strong. He was doing all these cool tricks and really great flow, and he completely fell apart. And even was like standing around for like the last 5-10 seconds.
Yeah, guys, he was doing like some crazy cool tricks, and I wish I can give more detail, like the names and stuff, but it's like I don't know how to describe these things. But he was doing like every cool trick you could see from Freerunning, where it's like you just run up and do like some crazy 360 flip. He was doing it and some really cool stuff. But as like you said, Rich, he just stops and he looks around. He's like, I don't know what to do. And you're like, dude,
I don't get it he fell. He took a hard fall too, but he ended up with a great score. He got an 8.3. Like, I don't understand how they could justify giving him an 8.3.
Yeah, the thing, guys, is that he did 2 really hard tricks, but he didn't land them. Like, he fell. And, you can give credit for attempting the trick, but I don't know if he got the second highest score on this entire episode. And I don't know if that was warranted, because the 2 big tricks he tried, he failed with. Like, give him points for trying, but you kind of have to land your tricks.
Yeah, it almost seemed like they were trying to end up with a tie so they could go to sudden death.
Yeah, good point.
But they really couldn't justify it after the anchor runs when they had Frosty versus Adrian. There was just no way. Like Frosty just blew them all away.
Frosty, so what do you think about Frosty's run? Because guys, like Frosty, as I said before, he's all about flow, but he's not about like super difficult tricks. And this guy was very unique. He didn't do all these crazy flips and all these other things, but like if you ever watched like Legend of Korra or any of these types of things, it's almost like this water movement where he's just flowing in and out of these bars where it's like, you can't touch me. Like it was almost like he was a magnet, like on reverse polar senses from everything else. And he was kind of like defying gravity in many ways. It was really cool. And he's just swinging and flowing through all of these different weaves. And he, like in terms of flow, he has it on point. I don't know about tricks necessarily. Like he wasn't doing the hardest of tricks, but it was certainly unique and crazy cool to see.
Yeah, he didn't get tied up. I don't know why some of them were going to the bar the way they were, because as soon as they did that, as soon as they started swinging back and forth on the bar, they just lost all their flow, right? They weren't moving from one thing to the next. It was just very, very jarring to stop and grab that. But he would swing around it. He did. See, the problem is, and he even pointed out, he ended up going down the same line again and got basically stuck doing the same tricks. He kind of got a little repetitive at the end. Not to take anything too much away from him. I just felt like Levi strung it all together perfectly and didn't have any of those repeats or anything that really stood out as not having great flow. And I think he was warranted. He had like an 8.7 or something, which is a little higher than Frosty got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Either way, I really enjoyed both teams. For everybody at home, Tribe won both heats. I think Tribe won the freestyle round by just a point, like a 0.1 point. So it was very close, but Tribe won both heats. And I don't know. I hope we see Flip again, though. I know he got injured, and I don't know how close together they filmed these episodes, but he definitely stood out. And this was the first appearance we ever saw Flip Rodriguez, and I remember watching him, and I was like, that, like, out of this entire show, Flip Rodriguez actually stood out more than anything else for me. I really enjoyed Frosty. I remember I really enjoyed, all of Team Tempest. But in terms of a singular competitor that really stood out, that I was like, I will remember this person, it was Flip Rodriguez. That mask was next level. And you get little hints of it, like with this episode, where he's just like, I use this mask to hide my emotions and all this other stuff. And it's crazy now that we've grown up with him and we know more of his story. It's really cool to see.
It's really chilling, actually. I'm actually just got a shiver up my spine because listening to him talk about it and what it's for and what it represents, and seeing like the whole, just he has like 20 masks or something, and they're very cool. But knowing what they represent for him, it's really emotional to watch, right? Like you feel really bad for him, and at the same time, this is awful, but I miss the masks so much. I think they're so cool that if it wasn't a painful thing for him, I would really wish he would take it back up, because it's so iconic for him.
Yeah, and it definitely made him I can't say made him a star. His talent made him a star, but it definitely added to his image. When it comes to this, honestly, I feel like whatever is best for him emotionally, I'm okay with. But
right.
Yeah, obviously, I miss the mask as well. From what I understand at this point in his life, he was in a much better place, and he was surrounded by friends, and I think that adds also to the story of they're living together, they're very close, they're they came from. It sounds like all of them kind of came from like a tougher background, and that's why they're so close. And, that's really cool. And I'm happy to see that Flip Rodriguez and JJ Woods are still like super close brothers, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So any final thoughts you want to add on Jump City Seattle before we move on?
No, once again, I mean, it was a fun episode. The hour flies by, so search for it on YouTube. Won't be hard to find. It's good stuff.
All right, so let's go on to Celebrity Apprentice, which we will, as always, keep a little shorter, but let's
what
get
an episode.
This was a great episode for Matt, for sure. That was he definitely stood out.
The second hour of this episode, guys, was some amazing stuff.
Yeah, so you want to talk about the first episode, and then we'll kind of cover the because to be honest, I only watched the second half, so I'm gonna have to defer to you.
You only watch the half that matters. Yeah. This first half is it was kind of pointless. I mean, I don't know what to say. There was a task trying to sell products to mostly women, exercise products, and Vince Neil, I believe is his name.
Yeah,
thought of the brilliant idea the way to sell to moms, how to work out and all this stuff and healthy meals is to get a bunch of supermodels with them half naked and just dance on top of the trailer that they're standing on, because that attracts moms and everything else.
Well done.
Other than that, it was cool, but it wasn't great. And yeah, honestly, let's get to the second half. There was some excitement in the boardroom, I guess, where was it Chael Sonnen and Leslie, they're the two big villains of this show, like started going at it, and that was fun. But out of nowhere, dude, Vince Neil just like elects to like fall on the sword out of nowhere. I'm like, no, I was enjoying watching these two villains like go at each other.
Yeah, I was wondering which one of them was going to get booted, and all of a sudden Vince just says basically, yeah, it's my fault that we're here, and threw himself under the bus. Like, why would you do that? It would be bad enough if you're competing for yourself. You're competing for a charity. Come on, like, you stay in the fight. What are you doing?
Well, they're competing for $1 million for their charity, and I don't know if we referenced this last week, but Vince Neil, last episode, he not only got all the money he raised, but he also got all the money for the other team that they raised during the fundraiser task, and he got, I think, like $750,000 for his charity, which is absolutely insane, and I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like the other team worked really hard for that money, and they should have kept it. That's another story. But yeah, he pretty much already, he almost hit that $1 million goal. So I'm pretty sure he's just checked out at this point.
Fair enough.
I mean, I don't agree with it, but let's just say the charity and the work that he's done for his charity, I think they're all right.
All right. So yeah, in the second, so he's gone. He gets terminated, and they move to Universal Studios to promote. What's it called?
Yeah, they're here to promote the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at the LA Universal Studios. And come to find out, not only is Matt Iseman a big Arnold Schwarzenegger nerd, but he is a huge Harry Potter nerd. To some extent that me, as an English major and a librarian, couldn't even compete to the level of geekdom that this guy has for Harry Potter.
Oh, really?
I was like, wow, props to you.
Did you follow everything he was saying? Did you get lost at all?
Oh, no, I understood all of it, but it's not like if I was there, I can just pull that out of my butt and just, like, say all these references. I was like, this dude knows his stuff.
Oh, I would have been right with them. That's twice now with the Arnold thing and with this. There was no way. I mean, I've read all the books. I've watched all the movies multiple times. I'm totally with them on it. I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd. So, yeah, it was cool to see him just geek out like that. He's throwing out references all over the place, and everybody's looking at him like he's crazy through the whole
Dude,
episode.
that was even better. It wasn't just fun that Matt Iseman was extremely jovial. Like, he was just like a little kid in a toy shop. It was amazing to see. But everybody else is just standing back looking at him with these crazy eyes being like, what is this? Oh, and we got to talk about this little showman. So Matt Iseman, dude, and Brooke Burke. Like, the first half of this episode... Oh, well, you didn't see the first half. So the first half of this episode, man, Matt Iseman and Brooke Burke are flirting. And I mean just a little bit flirting. They are flirting. Like,
Really?
she's like doing this body workout, right? Like, it's called a butt burner workout because she does fitness exercising videos. And he's just openly being like, everybody get out of the way. I need a good, like, I'll get behind her so I can get, like, a good view. And it's not, like, in a creepy way, but it's, like, in a fun way, you know? Where she's, like, all about it, and they're kind of, like, looking at each other. And then she's, in this task, it was the task before, the first half. They're, like, really close together talking, and she's just laughing. And you know when a girl's, like, liking a guy, and she's, like, laughing at jokes that just aren't there? That's what's going on. And I'm like, isn't this the chick that's like married to that kind of D-bag? Like, oh yeah, it's the same chick. Like, maybe she likes, you know, the nice guy, but it was definitely all of the love and all the connection that we were seeing in the first half completely went out the door as soon as nerd Matt comes to play at Harry Potter. Brooke Burke is looking at him like, I don't know this guy. And what happened?
And Arnold even gave him heck for it. I think that's part of the storyline they're driving is, you know, this is why you don't have a wife. This is the reason.
You know what? That's all fine, man. Matt, do you. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was really entertaining. If you are a Matt Iseman fan, you have to watch this episode. It was very funny to see him just ecstatic, like just beside himself through the whole thing. It was really, really fun to watch.
His excitement was truly infectious. And I'm not saying that just like if it was somebody else, I would say the same thing. It was insane how excited this guy was. Now, the number one thing I also have to say is with this task, remember everybody last week and what I've been saying these past few weeks is that the two top competitors on the show are clearly Matt Iseman and Carson. And guess what, everybody? They were the two project managers on this task. And Matt Iseman destroyed Carson's team. Not only that, but Matt Iseman is the only competitor on this show that has now won 2 tasks. And that is a very huge leg up. Matt Iseman has yet to ever go to the boardroom. Matt Iseman's never been in trouble. Matt Iseman's always looked good. And now he's won 2 tasks. He is the clear frontrunner to win this show. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Because I thought it was cute that it was on the show at the beginning, right? When this was announced. I'm like, that's really cool. They're giving American Ninja Warrior, you know, some love and everything. I never expected him to do so incredibly well. He has really taken this opportunity and ran with it. And good for him. I absolutely will be floored if he doesn't make it to the finale.
Yeah, he definitely seems like a strong contender to get there.
He's the only contender to get there at this point, man. Like, he is the only one. I can see Layla getting there. I can see Carson getting there still. I don't see anybody else. But Matt Iseman's already sealed the deal. He's in the end. Just guarantee it, guys. He's got to do something epically bad. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
That's all right.
He's got to do something epically bad. Like, just like charge. I don't even know. He's got to like try to outflex Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then Arnold Schwarzenegger gets all offended, flexes and like punches him with his bicep or something.
Or what if he tried to cheat, maybe?
I see what you did there.
Yeah, like that transition. What did you think of that business? That was crazy.
Hey, as I said, Chael Sonnen's known for being the ultra villain in mixed martial arts and, around the internet. He didn't really show it at the beginning of the season, but he was definitely getting his legs towards the middle half of the show. And I think he was just getting started. This guy is known for doing some crazy out there stuff. And for everybody who didn't see it, I mean, this guy, well, first of all, just this entire season, he's just been talking so much smack. I am going to backstab everybody. I'm going to destroy everybody. They are all dead, and they will fall at my feet. I just love his braggadocio. But he made the epic mistake of where he thought he can get away with it, where they were running out of time on a task where they were clearly going to end. I think they were still choosing like pictures from the task at Universal Studios. By the way, for everybody isn't following, they went to Universal Studios and they had to make a flyer with pictures and stuff. Okay, so they were choosing it. They clearly didn't choose it. And they're running out of time. I think they only had like 5 minutes left. So what does Chael Sonnen do? He cuts the cord, the power cord on the computer. The whole thing blows up. Everybody's freaking out, and then he's like behind the computer, behind the desk with scissors. Everybody's like, "Did you just cut the cord?" And he's like, "Oh no, I don't know what happened. Oh no!" And everybody's like, "You cut the cord?" He's like, "No. Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm okay though. I didn't get electrocuted." And I'm just like, "Oh, dude, come on." They got that extra 10 minutes for technical difficulties, and that's why he did it. He's saying, for technical difficulties, but it bit him in the butt in the end. But on the other side, Matt Iseman did great. He was not only exciting, but the clear thing about Matt Iseman is even though he's kind of distracted with all the grandeur and all the fun of this park, he really stayed focused and directed everybody to taking pictures. And the one thing I always said is that people will genuinely go out of their way to help Matt Iseman because he's so nice. You definitely saw it in this task. Everybody went above and beyond to try to help him.
Yeah, it was really good. And they had 2 people booted because when they got to the boardroom, they just barely got started when Carson completely ratted Chael out, his own teammate. He just like, we're not comfortable with what he did. And so he explained himself. Chael didn't hide it. He's like, hey, look, I did what we had to win. We needed some more time. I bought us some time. I knew we would get we had to finish at 7:45. It was 7:43. If there was a technical difficulty, we would get more time. So I gave us a technical difficulty. Like, okay, I guess if you want to look at it that way. So he got fired. He didn't get terminated. He got fired.
I love Chael Sonnen, but come on, dude. Like, he should have thought better. I don't know. I'm going to miss him. I feel like he could have added more to the show. I guess, the wrestling fan in me really liked that. But, Chael Sonnen's known for that. I mean, he was on a big suspension from mixed martial arts because he cheated by using growth hormones, He just recently fought past week on Bellator, and a lot of the celebrities from Celebrity Apprentice were there, and he fought Tito Ortiz's, who's like a legend of the sport, in Tito Ortiz's final fight. And Chael Sonnen lost, unfortunately, but Chael Sonnen came back from 3 years not fighting, which is really hard to do, and fight one of the top people in the sport. But I'm excited. I think Chael's finally going to come back to mixed martial arts, do well, and I hope he does well. That's all I can say to that. By the way, he also fights at 185 in terms of weight, and he was fighting somebody that's well over 200 pounds. So,
okay.
There are many reasons he lost that fight. But, just so everybody knows, Chael Sonnen's still doing well. What do you think about Leslie before we go? I think she's clearly the villain now, right? Numero uno.
Yeah. She's been a villain all along. Like, she's just, I hate her, honestly.
Damn, harsh.
Yeah, I haven't liked her at all through the whole thing. She's been driving me nuts. I don't know why she's still there.
She's great TV. I mean, she's awful, but she's fun to hate. She's not at that point where I can't stand her and I just want to turn off my TV. I enjoy you can just tell at all times, like the the wheels are spinning in her head, being like, how can I make this person look bad? You know, she's definitely the person that's always out to just make people look bad. And I'm enjoying it. I don't see her ever getting to the finale, so it's fine. But I'm enjoying it while she's there.
I don't know. I think she's gonna make it to the finale. Honestly, I really see that happening. I think it's gonna be her, Layla, and Matt in the finale. I think Carson's gonna get the boot here at some point. He's gonna have a second failure. He's got this failure. He got a pass based on his past performances, but he slips up again. He's out.
I agree, but Carson's so damn good. I can't see Carson. He might not make it to the finale, but he's going to get very, very close. If he doesn't make it to the finale, Layla's making it. I don't see anybody else.
All right, so let's move on to National Ninja at the Edge.
Oh my god, how many shows are we covering, dude?
It doesn't end. And we're so far behind in National Ninja, it's ridiculous. We're like a month behind, but we'll plow through. We're going to keep doing them. We'll get caught up at some point.
Well, go ahead, dude.
All right, here we go. So in third place for the women, we had Katie Tennant. Katie was really strong. She looked really good on the rings. There was this awkward transfer, though, from this ring swing to the PVC pipe, which she did eventually manage to do, but it was a very, very strange obstacle the way it was laid out. And she ended up falling on a transition from that PVC pipe to a second ring. In second place, we had Karen Sabo, who's, I guess, been having a pretty rough year. She's been sick. So she made it to that same obstacle. She managed to turn herself around on the PVC pipe to reach the ring. And she did eventually manage to do it. It was a little hard to get a swing going on that thing, like trying to get this. She's hanging from this PVC pipe that's connected on both ends. And she's trying to swing the whole rig to get closer to the ring on an end of a rope. And the whole thing just looked really, really awkward and hard to do. But she did manage it. They showed her doing a rail walking balance obstacle. But then she was on some swings with, again, more rings, and she just got hung up on there and eventually ended up falling. And I think she is really one to watch. I've seen her name actually out there quite a bit, and I think that's one we'll be seeing maybe in this coming season. Karen Sabo, take notes of that name.
Yeah, she definitely seemed very poised. And one thing about this course is that it's just all about fundamentals. You know, we talk sometimes about all these courses that are like super difficult one way or the other, are very unique. This course, I think Chris even alluded to it a little bit. It's not crazy out there obstacles or anything, but it's all about all these fundamental regular obstacles all combined together, making it a tough course. And I think we saw that. And I thought it was kind of refreshing seeing, common obstacles all connected together again. And I kind of like that. So, just like rings and stuff like that. It's nothing crazy out there.
Yeah, nothing too bad. There were a few odd ones, but they are all very, very heavily A&W inspired, if not directly taken from the show, right? So we saw, and we'll get through some of them here as we go. So then we moved on to first place, which was Shannon Pagliari, who did fantastic. And I thought she had actually gone further than Karen Sabo because they were showing her do this ring traverse across the gym, which was very, very cool. Chris described it as simplistic, but it didn't look that simple to me. It was like almost like a pipe slider style thing, or Ring of Fire is what I'm trying to think of. Sorry. So she's on rings, sliding down these long poles and moving her way across the gym. It was really cool to watch. But that actually was before the part where Karen had fallen. So she ended up going out in the same place. She got hung up on the rings and ended up falling.
Yep.
Dude, that was a hot mess.
Moving on.
Moving on to the men, we had in third place Ernest Phillips, the name we keep seeing popping up everywhere. E-Rock, did they call him?
E-Rock, yeah.
Yeah, E-Rock's doing amazing. He got like a crazy, the part where others were seeming to get hung up, he did this crazy swing. He got so much distance, and it showed him blasting through the rest of the course. You get to the floating monkey bar variation, which was amazing. I love this obstacle. So again, we've mentioned it before, but this one was even different from the other ones, and I will never be able to do it justice. Basically, imagine doing monkey bars, but you bring the bars with you across, putting it into little cradles along the way.
Mm-hmm. And just E-Rock alone, he's so good with the upper body obstacles. Like, I would kill to see this guy on stage 2. I feel like he would just destroy that stage. Yeah, I'm really excited to see him on ANW. I mean, with all of his skill and everything he's done in the regional circuit, we have to imagine he's on next season. And I'm excited. There are certain people, and he's definitely one of them, where it's like, I really want to see what he can do. Because we know at this point, he's going to kill all the upper body obstacles. And the show's gone more and more towards that direction, but it's still kind of a question mark of how well he'll do with the balance stuff. But I'm pretty high up on him right now.
Yeah, he's really good, and I can't wait to see how he does. I think he will make the show. I think he's going to show his skills enough in his videos. He's going to have a ton of footage, at least, if nothing else.
Oh, he will.
To use. Yeah. It showed him doing. They had an exact replica of the circuit board that we saw in Indy this year, which looked way harder than it did in Indy.
Yeah. I mean, all the crap that I talked about before, I'm like, this one I don't know about. Because rather than little, like, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, basically at the bottom of these pegs, right? It's almost like a softball, where you have to squeeze it. And those are the type of things where, I'm not very good at that, let's just say. So all the crap talk I was saying, not for this particular one. Y'all can have that.
Yeah. And then we had the, trampoline into cargo nets and double salmons and lashaying across bars at the end. And he basically was he had nothing left. He ended up falling on the laches right near the end of the course. But a great job overall. It's just too much in one course. In second place, we had Andrew Carson, who I guess I feel like I should know that name better than I do. Chris described him as one of the OGs. He's been around since season 1 or season 2. He was very solid through the whole course and ended up falling on the same laches at the end. And in first place, we had Ethan Swanson, a familiar name from this past season. And Chris is talking about his obstacle efficiency, that both he and Andrew are very efficient on obstacles. We did see that for sure, that they were very smooth, very, he made the comparison to Drew Dreschel. I can see that. Like, it's very all about efficiency of movement. And he ended up actually completing the course. He's the only one to actually finish. He got through those laches that the others got tripped up on and was able to go up the warp wall to finish the whole thing off.
Yeah, he was great. And, as you said before, he was so efficient, so technical. He never really wasted a lot of his energy. And that's truly a key to American Ninja Warrior, because it's not really about all the difficult obstacles. It's just everything combining together to make it really fatiguing on your body. And, he was very good at not completely wearing his body down. It was great.
All right, so that is it for our coverage of the National Ninja League. Moving on, we have...
more?
Well, kind of. So we put it to a vote. Bijan had pointed out that we weren't covering UK Ninja Warrior last week, and I thought, you know what, we should... I don't know why we weren't covering it. I kind of thought it was a little hit or miss for me whether we would cover it or not. So we put it to a vote. We put it out on Twitter. And at this point, it's definitely looking... The poll ends tomorrow. You probably will be hearing this after it's completed.
I think it's safe to say who won.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that UK Ninja Warrior has won out. So that's what you'd like to see us cover next. Although I was pleasantly surprised at the turnout and surprised at how many people were actually looking at interviews and stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see that everybody is very excited for all the different things we can bring to the show. That's awesome. I always love feedback, and I always love seeing this type of, reaction to everybody. Ninja Warrior UK, I'm actually very excited for it because we're coming in from fresh eyes. As much as I like to be an expert when it comes to American Ninja Warrior, UK Ninja Warrior, I have to say I'm no expert. So I think it'll be fun for everybody just to see the reaction, and we'll cover it just how we do American Ninja Warrior. I think it'll be really fun, guys. And yeah, I think it's going to be cool to see like top level athletes in this sport, but from a different region. I think that'll be really refreshing to see. Right.
So looking at it now, we're going to have to do it condensed, I think. We'll have to take a look at how many weeks we have before everything else starts kicking off and see how we can kind of pack it in. We'll set aside, because Jump City Seattle got some votes, but it didn't get enough. So we're going to actually put that aside for now. I don't think we're going to try to do it at the same time.
No.
And we'll...
I have a life.
Yeah, we'll circle back to it when we have time, which could be next year, by the way everything's going here. If they keep starting up new OCR shows, we might be busy for a while.
I feel you. But Jump City Seattle, that's one of the shows where it's not prudent that we have to cover it next week. We can always go back to it. Jump City, Seattle is more of a little fun thing. Yeah, I'm excited for next week, guys. UK Ninja Warrior. Hopefully, we'll have some more info on Beastmaster show. And yeah, going straight in from there is going to be Team Ninja Warrior. I mean, these next few months are going to be really fun.
Yeah, no lack of things to talk about. It's very cool stuff. So, we only have about a week left in the voting for the Amateur Podcast Championships. So please, I can't overstate this. Please go and vote. It'll be linked in the description. I will be tweeting it out, especially as we're coming down to the crunch. They have sent us an email saying that there is like a 20-way tie for this vote. So I need every vote. We would really appreciate it. It would be a very cool thing for us to win. And yeah.
Yeah. Either way, though, I really appreciate everybody voting and love you guys.
Yes, everyone that has and everyone that shared it out and helped us by retweeting, I absolutely appreciate it more than you could possibly know. It is fantastic. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to reach out to us, as always, you can reach me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. You can find us at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151.
Once again, thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace and love, everybody.